Hey Team Major Foe here, Operation Cipher, turn 12.2, Russia, January 1942. Just a slight bit of housekeeping for my last turn. I messed this up. When I railed over this infantry and this cavalry, the rail gauge changed. Now I wonder if I railed folks here before. I have to look back at my previous turns. They would have had a stop here as well in Eastern Anatolia. So both this cavalry and this infantry are Eastern Anatolia. Um, Previous turns, if I would have railed, they would have ended here, and then the next turn they would have moved here. So technically, these folks are good here, but these two definitely have to go back. So apologies, I missed that. And I believe all the railing I did on this side, I started in this rail gauge, and it's our rail gauge, so we should be fine there. And the next place they would have stopped would be on this side in Norland, so that should be correct. And now we know for future. Watch the rail gauges. Oof. All right, turn 12, like I said, we're at 52 with propaganda 55. We've got 4 tech rolls. We're going to do advanced artillery, we're going to do improved factories, heavy armor, and strategic rockets. My notepad down. Okay, advanced artillery looking for anything above a 7. 2, definitely not it. And improved factories above a 7. Oh, that is a 9, so we did succeed on improved factories, so welcome to the T-34 race. Heavy armor, 8 or above. 4. And what are we? Turn 12. Still stage 1. Oh, look at that. Stage 2, 9 or above. So 2 out of 4 is not bad. Not upset with that. Okay. Let's go down to the buys. So that will make the buys a little different. So I've placed my special units here. I now have T-34 tanks, so this row of 10 will come off, and just for simplicity's sake, I'll leave them here so it's easy. Okay, T-34s are $5 a piece. That's $10 for 2. That brings me to 45. Soviet jet fighter is 12, and an airborne is $3. That's 15. That brings me to 30. 2 infantry is 6, and 2 militia is 4. 6 and 4 is 10. That brings me to 20. I've got 4 infantry, 3, 6, 9, 12. Brings me to 8. Hello, wake you. Yeah, maths are easy. 2 militia, 2, 4, and 2 militia upgrades, 6, 8. Be $8. That will conclude the purchases. We'll go to combat. So going into Istanbul will be 7 infantry, and the cavalry move 1, 2 and join that fight. We have 2 fighters and a jet fighter in Kiev. They'll move 1 to, I think that's southern Ukraine, 2 into M10, 3 into Istanbul. They'll have 2 movement remaining as they left from an airbase. Okay. Up here in Leningrad, there is an air transport and an airborne. They'll move 1 to northern Belarusia, 2 to southern Belarusia, 3 to western Ukraine, 4 to southern Ukraine, 5 to M10, 6 to Istanbul, and as they left from an airbase, they have 1 movement remaining, so that airborne's in there. So that's that little mess. I've actually moved that one down to the battle board to make it a little easier. Keep the standoff going here and here, but I will take this medium armor into Estonia and 2 infantry. Okay, if I can beat that in the first 2 rounds, that medium tank will punch into Latvia with this tank destroyer and 2 motorized. Okay, they 1, 2, and 1, 2. 1 from Smolensk and that 1 from southern Belarusia. No terrain modifiers on either of these 2 fights. So those 2 fights are over here. Moving into northern Norway. I've attacked this. This now becomes British controlled as we're not at war. It shouldn't. They don't flip to British. They're just British controlled. So 2 infantry at a Norland will move to northern Norway, and a fighter out of Leningrad. So it'll move 1 into Viipuri, 2 into Lapland, 3 into northern Norway, and still have 2 movements remaining. That's that fight there. Same deal over here into southern Norway. 2 infantry and a fighter against that 1 infantry. Both going into mountains, so the infantries are at 1. And into um, so Gotland, I have 3 infantry, a cavalry, and a light tank. No terrain modifiers versus their SS Panzer, militia, and airborne. These two both defend at 2, and this guy's at a 5. No change to the folks on my board. I believe nothing crazy over here, and that sub's going to stay there. They can't raid this line as I own this side of it. And then not sure how that line works. As I know, I'll have closed this line off too, so there'll be no way to raid the Germans. Well, that might be a bad idea. Either way, we'll carry on. Okay, so going into northern Norway, first fight, we've got 2 infantry at 1, fighter at 6, and their infantry at a 4. Rolled all together, save some time. All misses. Go to round number 2. All misses again. Well, this is up to a great start. And the fighter hit. So Norway loses that infantry. Soviets gain. Let's throw this dice over the pile. Soviets go up $1. So 52 to 53, no change for anybody else. This is a neutral. Okay, up in here in northern Norway, we have same thing, 2 infantry at a 1 and the fighter at a 6, and a militia at a 2. So round 1, ooh, that was close. Shockingly, the infantry hit. So that to there. And the Soviets go up another $1 to 54. Okay, I think my luck may have run out, but we'll keep pressing here. So into Gotland, we have 3 infantry at 2. We have a light tank and a cavalry at 3, and we have the tactical bomber at a 4, correction, at a 7 with target select. And I'll roll them first, just so we don't confuse anything. Okay, so 1 hit, miss, 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 miss. So 1 hit in total, so that'll probably be the militia, I would assume. They have an airborne at 2 and a militia at 2, and they have their Panzer Grenadier at 5. So all misses. So militia, round number 1 goes away. Go to round number 2. No hits there, 1 hit there, and 1 hit there. So that's both the light armor hit on a 2, they needed a 3 or less, and the tactical bomber at a 6 again, and anything under a 7. So white dice is a 2, pink dice is a 5 or less, and that one did hit. So I will lose the Soviet light tank. Thanks for helping out for this game. That one's gone now. Now, Germany's going to go down $1, and sure I'm cloning the right thing here. And the Soviets will go up $1. Germany's down to 50, Soviets are at 55. Okay, clean up the dice. Okay. Now, from Leningrad into Estonia, we have 2 infantry, and then the armor came from northern Belarusia, so we have 2 infantry at 2 and the lighter armor at 6. Ugh, all misses. They have a militia at 2. That's an 8, that's a miss. So we'll roll it all together at this time. If I don't get it in the second round, then that tank can't blitz. And I don't get it in the second round. No hits again. Round number 3. All misses. Round number 4. Wow, all misses. Round number 5. And the armor and the infantry hits. So that's not what I was hoping for, but it is what it is. Can't win them all. So now into this fight. That's much more of a problem. So I have a tank destroyer at 3 with target select on vehicle class units, which means nothing, and um, two motorized at 2. Okay, this could be foolish in the first round. Wow, shockingly we hit one. They have a militia at 2 and an infantry at 4, and the militia hit. So I'll lose a motorized, they'll lose a militia. And I will retreat to northern Belarusia, and the Marine will survive. Not what I was hoping for, but it's what it is. Okay, that's that fight. That's that fight. And I think the last fight is down here. And that one I've already put on the board. So I have 7 infantry at 1. I have an airborne at 2 in round number 1. Normally it'd be at a 3, but due to the mountain, I'm pretty sure it's a mountain. Yeah, due to the roundel is in the mountain. It's all mountainous anyway. It's at a 2, and the cavalry is also at a 2 for all rounds. And then the fighters are at 6, the jet fighters at an 8. They have 2 first strikes from the fortification at a 5, so I'll roll that first. Whew. And they hit one of them, so I will take the airborne as the first strike. So those are done. And then they have a cavalry at a 2, and then in the first round they have 4 infantry at 4. In round number 2, they'll pop back to a 5 because they're still in a unsurrounded city. Okay, pretty sure I did that right, but here we go. 7 at 1. Absolutely nothing. 1 at 2. Exactly nothing. 2 at 6. This is where I'm hoping for up here. We did get 1, and the jet fighter at an 8. 2 hits in total. So that'll likely be their cavalry and 1 infantry. Cavalry's at a 2. That's a miss, thank goodness. And 4 infantry at 6. This could be painful. Ooh, just 1 hit. Okay, I will lose my cavalry. It might be a bad play, but I'd like to keep more defenders if possible. So they're down the cavalry, and they're down an infantry. This all moves, whoops, this all moves down to 5. So round 1 was the fort, round 2 they're in the city. Okay, so still with 7 infantry at 1. Ooh, 2 hits. Okay, that's not bad. 2 fighters at 6. Both 9s. And the jet fighter at an 8. Worth every penny. Okay, so that's all 3 hits. That's all 3 infantry. How bad is it going to be? 3 at 5. Not bad. 1 hit. Okay, so I'll lose an infantry. And that leaves me with 6 infantry, the 2 fighters, and the jet fighter in return. Okay, so all of this goes. The coastal artillery is also destroyed. And these 3 units. are eliminated, leaving me with 6 infantry. I will painstakingly take all of these forts off at a later time before I save the game and send it to the next folks. Okay, so in that case, Turkey has been eliminated in ground units. I don't know if that destroyer just stays under Turkish control now they have no land units. Either way, I'll leave it there. It's still under UK control. Um, this is done too. No more no more recruitment roles. So in Istanbul, there is six infantry. Come on now. Move 2 of them over this way. Okay, I'll delete those forts after a bit. So there is Russia going up 2. No one else goes down any just because it's a neutral territory. Okay, so now we're on to non-combat movements. So that infantry is still there, so I'll move 1 infantry down from Transcaucasia and I'll rail an infantry down from North Caucasia. I'll also rail the infantry from Stalingrad, so there's now 4 infantry in Eastern Andalusia. This transport has 1 movement remaining, so it's going to go back to the country in Turkey with a K. The jet fighter and the 2 other fighters have 2 movements remaining, so they're going to go M10 into southern Ukraine. I'm going to start a card for that territory. So there's going to be 2 fighters and a jet fighter. These 3 things are already in there. Well, I guess I'll make that card slightly bigger. Oops. Okay. And there's a bunch of militia here. So 1 militia is going to go to Torito, 1 militia is going to go to eastern Ukraine. The tank destroyer in Kiev will also join the 98th. The tank destroyer and 2 motorized. I'll just go one by one, I guess. Will also join the folks in the 98th. Okay, there's a AAA gun there and 3 infantry there as well. So that AAA is also there. And the 3 infantry are there. Okay, the 3 militia in Kiev are staying in Kiev. There's 2 militia in southern Ukraine and 2 in western. 2 of the militia from western Ukraine are coming down, and 1 is going into Kiev. Okay, so there's now 4 militia in southern Ukraine, 1 in Cherito, 1 in eastern Ukraine. 3 infantry in Oral Kursk is moving forward to southern Belarusia, and the 1 in Smolensk will also move to southern Belarusia. The militia in Oral Kursk is going to move to Smolensk. The militia in Tula-Lipetsk will move to Oral Kursk. Up here we have 1 infantry will move into Viipuri from Leningrad. And that will conclude those. The fighter in southern Norway, the tactical bomber in Gotland, and the fighter in northern Norway will all go back to Norland. No, I'm not going to move that infantry from Viipuri. I'm going to leave that one in Leningrad. I think he's still got transports and other crazy stuff going on around here. Okay, I think that is all. While I took a victory point here, I'll have to add that to the table. I now have access to the med. That brings me to 5. I also get a free transport, which I'll place in port in Crimea. Somewhere here. Transport. Okay. So there is now a transport in Crimea. I use 2 rail here. Drop those cats into that country. I have no more rail here. I have 4 rail on this side, but aren't using any. Okay. I think that concludes the non-combat movements. Go to place units. Okay. So I'll put the jet fighter in Kiev and 1 infantry in Kiev. I will place the 2 T-34s in Oral Kursk. I'll put a militia upgrade in Helsinki. I'll place an infantry and 2 militia. Correction, I can only place 1 militia in Norland. An infantry will go there and 1 militia will go to Norland. 1 militia will go to Lapland. 1 militia will go to Viipuri province. Okay, now I'm left with an infantry for 2 infantry for Stalingrad. No, 1 infantry for Stalingrad. And I'll put a militia there. 1 infantry will go to Cheetah. And I'm left with 3 infantry. Can't use that. I'll put 2 into Leningrad and 1 more unit into Oral Kursk. Yeah. Yeah, I think that's everything. Okay. Russia has $57 plus 3 for propaganda. There's no subs on that line, but I don't think the Americans are going to give me any more money, because that would mess up their math when they're trying to get their objective. So no worries. 57 and 3 is $60 for the Russians. And I will do a little unit recap just due to the number of movements and whatnot's going on there. So there's 2 infantry and a militia in Pomorsky Krai. There's 1 militia in Amur. There's 4 infantry in Chita. 3 militia in Transcaucasia, 2 militia in North Caucasia, an infantry and a militia in Stalingrad. There is 4 infantry in Eastern Anatolia. There's a transport plane in Deniz. Yep. 6 infantry in Istanbul. There's no fort. I'll get that off of there. There's coastal sub in M11. Yeah, destroyer, torpedo boat destroyer in M12. There's a transport import in Crimea and a militia there. There's a militia in Tarita, militia in eastern Ukraine, 4 militia in southern Ukraine, and the 98th. There's western Ukraine has a militia, 4 militia and infantry, and a jet fighter in Kiev. Like I said, Eastern Ukraine has a militia. There's 8 infantry in southern Belarusia, 2 T-34s, an infantry, and a militia in Oral Kursk, militia in Smolensk, Western Russia, Karelia, Viipuri, southern Finland, and Lapland, and Kola, 2 infantry in Moscow, tank destroyer, and a motorized in northern Belarusia, medium armor, 2 infantry in Estonia, 4 infantry, 2 militia, and an AA gun in Leningrad, a sub in A14, 3 infantry in Helsinki, 2 infantry in northern Norway, 2 infantry and militia, 2 fighters and a tactical in Norland, 3 infantry and a cavalry in Gotland, 2 infantry in southern Norway. The 98th, with those 4 militia, is 3 tank destroyers, 4 motorized, 2 AA guns, 2 fighters, a jet fighter, and 6 infantry. All right, I think that's it. That'll be the end of the Soviet turn. Thanks again for watching.